How to learn how to behave and understand why. Social behavior doesn't come easily to everyone, but learning how to behave in different social situations and with different types of people is important nonetheless if you wish to live a happy and successful life. Combine both cognitive and behavioral learning approaches to help yourself acquire the ability to adapt your behavior to each new set of circumstances. Part 1: Learning how to behave, cognitive approach. 1. Commit to changing. Learning how to behave starts by committing to the change. Even if you didn't learn the basics of social interaction during your youth, most adults can still learn to adapt to various social settings once they determine that it's important enough to spend time and energy on. For most people, the biggest hurdle to overcome when learning how to behave is lack of interest. Once you decide to improve, actually improving becomes much easier. Accept responsibility for your change or lack of change. No one can teach you how to behave if you refuse to learn. 2. Study. There's no book that will tell you how to behave in every setting, but there are books that will help you learn about different expectations for specific settings. If you know you'll need to spend time in an unfamiliar or uncomfortable setting, try reading about the proper way to behave there before the time comes. In addition to studying books and articles, you can also take courses in communication skills or ask understanding people for advice. 3. Analyze and adapt to different social norms. Social norms are behaviors that are expected of people in various social circumstances. These behaviors vary by role and setting, and most people will need to fulfill multiple sets of social norms. For instance, you'll need to fulfill one set of social norms at the office and a separate set of social norms when you're around friends or family. The expectations that others have of you as part of one group will vary from the expectations of the other group. You'll need to learn how to behave and which social norms to follow for each group you find yourself involved with. 4. Calm down. No matter how much you learn cognitively, you won't be able to put any of it into practice if you feel anxious about the situation. Keep calm when involving yourself in social situations and try to nurture your own sense of social self-confidence. Anxiety makes it difficult to think and speak clearly. Moreover, you'll probably send nonverbal messages about your nervousness, making it harder for others to react to you in a normal, accepting manner. There are many different approaches you can take to help calm yourself. You may want to practice positive self-talk before heading out. Including meditation and other general relaxation techniques could help, too. If you have severe social anxiety, you may even wish to seek help from professional counselors or support groups. Part 2: Learning how to behave, behavioral approach. 1. Gain practical experience. The cognitive approach to learning behavior is important, but oftentimes, the best lessons will come through experience. This means spending more time around familiar and unfamiliar people across a broad range of social settings. Go to places where you can expect to find other people instead of opting for more solitary settings. Intentionally seek out others and start conversations. Don't get discouraged if things don't immediately go well. Instead, take mental notes and analyze which aspects did go well and where things went wrong. Adjust your behavior accordingly during the next experience. 2. Maintain friendly eye contact. Nonverbal body language is important in all social situations, and people will generally be more open to you if you demonstrate open, friendly body language. The basics of open body language include polite smiles and consistent eye contact. Failing to look someone in the eye can sow seeds of distrust or frustration. Make steady eye contact, but blink and briefly look away every now and then so that you don't accidentally end up staring the other person down. Excessive staring can be seen as a form of intimidation. Smiles work in most social situations, but when the mood turns somber, a broad grin won't be appropriate. If you aren't sure what expression to make, glance around at others and consider mirroring the common expression. 3. Actively listen to others. You'll learn more about the social norms you need to fulfill once you learn an adequate amount of information about the other people involved in any given social setting. Actively listening to other people will allow you to gain the information you need. Additionally, demonstrating your ability to listen to others will also make people feel more open and accepting toward you. Show that you're listening by devoting your full attention to people when they speak with you. You should also reiterate points and refer back to information spoken by others to indicate that you were actually paying attention. 4. Seek common ground. It's easier to connect with other people once you find commonalities that connect you to them. These points of common interest can be minor or major, but either way, use them to build social bridges between yourself and others. Finding common ground usually happens naturally, but it also requires a bit of conscious effort. You don't need to drill the other person about his or her life in question and answer format. Doing so would actually be a bad idea, but you do need to be involved enough in the conversation to identify a point or possible point when it naturally comes up. 5. Care about others' circumstances. Learning how to behave toward others will usually happen more naturally if you genuinely come to care about others' circumstances. Actively caring about others will encourage them to care about you. Think about things from the other person's perspective. Identify what he or she might want, then go a step further and do what you can to help that person meet his or her goal. Even if you aren't able to help others with their concerns, forcing yourself to care for their interests will naturally cause you to focus less on yourself. As a result, you'll become less self-conscious and more comfortable, which should enable you to respond more naturally. 6. Build rapport. Rapport is a sense of social understanding between two or more people. Even though building rapport usually happens at an unconscious level, there are actions you can consciously make to get the process going. Practice communication traits that typically develop alongside rapport. For instance, reflect similar speech patterns, tones, and volume in the midst of a conversation. The posture and movements of those with strong rapport tend to mirror each other, too, so subtly mimicking others' movements during a conversation may also help. 7. Disclose personal information appropriately. Connecting with others in both formal and casual social settings will require some willingness to disclose information about yourself. Knowing how much information to share and when to share it is crucial to your overall success, though. Make small talk with those you don't know well and those you only know in formal or professional settings. Personal information generally won't exceed beyond weekend plans. As your relationships deepen, you'll need to work on disclosing more intimate details about your personal life. If you aren't sure how to proceed, wait for cues from the other person. As he or she begins to open up, it should be safe for you to do likewise. Part 3. Understand why. 1. Succeed in your career. People who know how to behave across a range of social settings tend to advance in their career more rapidly than those who lack that knowledge. People who seem to lack social and behavioral competence usually appear as though they lack competency in other areas, too. You might be more knowledgeable than other interviewees or co-workers, but if you don't know how to interact well with others, those in charge may not recognize that knowledge. All careers will require some understanding of how to behave with people, even those that are not centered around social interaction. Even if you don't deal with customers directly, you'll still need to deal with bosses, co-workers, and subordinates. 2. Meet more people. As you learn how to behave, you'll likely find more social opportunities opening up to you. This will allow you to meet more people, gain more experience, and enjoy a more active social life. You don't need to have a huge group of friends to be happy and successful, but meeting more people and knowing how to behave with them will usually cause more doors to open for you. For instance, if you're single but hoping to get into a romantic relationship, being sociable with more people could lead you to someone who might introduce you to the right man or woman. 3. Deepen current relationships. Learning how to behave will allow you to respond more appropriately to the people currently in your life. As a result, these relationships may grow and become more meaningful than before. Even if you manage to get through life with very basic social skills, you won't be able to develop many friendships and other deep connections until you learn how to behave with different types of people. 4. Avoid unpleasant social situations. Once you learn how to behave around different types of people, you'll learn how to excuse yourself from the company of unpleasant people without causing a commotion. You may dread social interactions if you believe you'll need to spend time with people you don't like or don't understand. By learning how to interact with all people, though, including those you don't care for, you'll learn more about different personality types and how to handle them. This will make it easier for you to politely excuse yourself in ways that are less likely to create anger or hostility. 5. Prevent misunderstandings. People who don't know how to behave socially are more likely to create misunderstandings. On the other hand, knowing how to behave can allow you to prevent more of those misunderstandings by avoiding the usual faux pas. If you interact with people haphazardly, you may find yourself making inappropriate jokes that others find distasteful. On the other hand, you may seem standoffish simply due to your discomfort, and others could perceive that behavior as personal insult. 6. Reduce nervousness. As you gain a better understanding of how to behave, you'll usually begin feeling more confident and less nervous around others. This will make it easier to stay calm in various social situations, which will allow you to continue learning better behavioral patterns. Becoming more socially confident can also improve your overall self-image and self-esteem. 7. Improve your mental and emotional health. Those who have poor social skills are generally more isolated and may experience more mental health problems as a result. By learning how to behave, you can reduce that isolation and improve your overall psychological state. The vast majority of people are wired to need socialization. When your needs as a social creature aren't being adequately met, you're more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders. Learning how to behave can invite more people into your life, and as more people enter into your life, you may notice your feelings of loneliness weakening. Once your social and emotional needs are more thoroughly met, your overall mood and psychological state will often improve, as well.